Aloha. I don't know about you, but I'm practicing for the field trip. My name is Erin MacDougall, and I am here on behalf of the Washington State delegation who are here at the Assembly, and also many of our colleagues who are hard at work at home. I work at the Public Health Department in Seattle and King County, and I have been involved in King County's Farm to School effort since 2003 and had the great privilege of working with a team who drafted our recently passed Local Farms Healthy Kids legislation in the state. And my colleague Tricia will be talking in greater detail about that legislation tomorrow. I'd like to give you a brief picture of our state as it pertains to factors influencing our farm to school efforts. First, there are approximately 6.5 million people who live in Washington. Agriculture is a major part of our economy. Data from 2005 showed that Washington's 35,000 farms earned over $6 billion in gross sales, operating on more than 15 million acres, producing 300 commercial crops and livestock products. Of these 35,000 farms, 89%, pretty impressively, are classified as small by the USDA, and they produce 15% of Washington's farm products by value. So it's really exciting to think about the range of agricultural options we have in our state. Additionally, agriculture is Washington's #1 employer. On the school side, there are 250 school districts across the state, and they range in size quite a bit. There is an active USDA-funded fresh fruit and vegetable program, and thanks to our new legislation, a Washington-grown version of the grant program. This school year, 60 grants have gone out to schools across those two programs, serving 20,000 students, so we're very pleased about that. Geographically, if you look at this map, many farms that have the large capacity are located on the east side of the state, where our urban dense schools are more on the west side of the state. Interestingly, the political boundary divides also here by the Cascade Mountains, and this sort of affects how we've approached and will probably continue to approach farm to school policy across the state. At the state level, over the last 5 years, there have been 2 staff at our Department of Agriculture working on these issues with individual school districts across the state. And on the local level, since 2003 in King County, the Washington State University King County Extension started a Farm to School Connections team, which I've been involved with. And this sort of started as an informal group of parents, agriculture folks, nutrition and food experts who were interested about improving the school nutrition environment, who over time have sort of created somewhat of a formal structure with staffing and a leadership group. We've taken time every month to meet and to bring in experts to talk about areas that help us understand more about the complexity of farm to school. And over this time, we've also seen the formation of the Puget Sound School Gardens Collective, and then several school districts have focused in on projects at that very school or school district level as well. This is mostly what's been happening in the Puget Sound. I know there are things happening on the east side of the state. I'm less familiar with those, but I'm pleased to say that with the passage of our new legislation, we will have some support at the state level through the Department of Agriculture programs to help us inventory and expand farm to school across the state. Our strengths are that we do grow a lot of different foods, and these can be easily procured by schools, including things like apples and potatoes that most of you are also looking at. In addition to farm to school, we are incredibly fortunate, like many of the others that talked earlier, with a strong and growing interest in the broader local food movement areas, including farm economies, broad food system issues, farm to hospital, and farm to college. We do have a year-round growing season, and I would just say that we are very fortunate, and I'm most familiar with this in the west side of the state, but I'm sure it's true across the state, to have many environmentally focused people, especially educators, who are passionate about finding ways to integrate gardening and food into their curriculum. Our challenges are that there is a strong west versus east divide, as well as an urban and rural divide. It seems to be a challenge that the larger farms are on one side of the state, where the school districts that can really use large quantities of food are on the other side. The largest school districts have indicated strong interest in procuring from local farms, but it's a challenge because they need large quantities of these foods. Additionally, some of our local farms have done a really good job of marketing themselves to the global market or to folks in the urban areas who are absolutely willing to pay a premium for local and sustainably produced food, which is a challenge for our schools to be able to afford purchasing these high quality products. In relation to school gardens, like many states, we have standardized testing, and our educators find it challenging to add anything beyond the areas that they're already trying to cover to meet those standardized tests. And right now there are not a lot of curricula that link the garden to the areas within the standardized exam as of yet. And then in many places it's hard. We do end up actually on the west side of the mountains with a drought in the summer, so it's hard to maintain those school gardens. Looking forward to next steps with the passage of our Local Farms Healthy Kids, there are amazing opportunities, I think, to advance our work. 25 schools have just been awarded our Washington Grown Fruit and Vegetable Grants, and there's some great opportunities to expand those programs into local efforts. And our Department of Agriculture is right in the process right now of hiring a farm-to-school program manager, and we're eagerly awaiting that happening. The Small Farms and Direct Marketing Program at the Department of Agriculture and various farm-to-school advocates, along with the Washington State University Small Farms team, are linking farms with schools across the state right now, trying to work rapidly to help specifically with the Farm-to-Fruit and Vegetable Program grants, but more broadly with advancing our farm-to-school efforts. And then I would say it's really a huge success to build on that. We now have many elected officials across the state in every county who are large supporters of the legislation we passed in 2008 and in the concept of improving kids' health through linking farms and schools. So it's a very exciting time to work in Washington State, and I would say even more than that, it's an incredible opportunity for us to be here right now to begin to build this regional set of priorities and issues that we can move forward on together.